And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're getting close to 300 thanks to you. So hit subscribe, watch, comment. Keep those comments coming and share with your friends because the insanity, it's not stopping. Look, today, I want to talk about Mahmoud Kahlil, the Palestinian activist at Columbia University, the graduate student who was detained by immigration authorities this weekend. ICE agents apprehended him inside his apartment. They claimed that they were acting on State Department orders to revoke Kahlil's student visa because of his involvement in campus protests over the Israel-Hamas war. Now, I want to be clear. This is not about whether you are pro-Israel, pro-Palestine. This has nothing to do with it at all. This is merely about the First Amendment. The First Amendment, plain and simple, regardless again of what side of the aisle you stand on. And yesterday, Judge Jesse Furman, I'm no fan of Jesse Furman, by the way, of the Southern District of New York, he issued an order halting his deportation. Now, I want to talk about this again in the context of free speech and First Amendment rights, because this is what Trump posted yesterday on his Truth Social. In it, he turns around and he writes, "Following my previously signed executive orders, ICE proudly apprehended and detained Mahmoud Kahlil, a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia University. This is the first arrest of many to come. We know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who have engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and the Trump administration will not tolerate it. Many are not students, they are paid agitators. We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country, never to return again. If you support terrorism, including the slaughtering of innocent men, women, and children, your presence is contrary to our national and foreign policy interests, and you are not welcome here. We expect every one of America's colleges and universities to comply. Thank you." If you will remember, last week, Trump posted this explaining his new executive order, and I made a video on it. On it says all federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, I want to be very, very clear. This is crazy. This is crazy talk. All right. And you may remember I made a video of it. You can go back and you could check. Now, on CNN, Dan Cohen, a former White House deputy cabinet member, he pointed out, as I have again and again and again, the danger of Trump's language in his post. Play the clip.
I've never condoned it.
Wait. Nobody at this table is condoning anti-Semitism. I think we need to take a step back and realize the implications of what the president has done without due process. On his Truth Social post, he not only referenced anti-Semitism, he referenced anti-American speech. Does anyone here know what he means by anti-American speech? Because I certainly don't. And so leaving that up to President Trump, I think there's a lot of Americans out there who would be pretty concerned about him using his own interpretation of anti-American to do things without due process.
Anti-American.
Yeah, I also don't know what it means, but they don't care. That's the crazy thing. They just don't care. It's, go ahead, Mr. President, put out a post. It's okay. You know, we'll just back it, whatever it is. We'll sane wash it. We'll whitewash it. We'll try to make it legitimate and reasonable and American, because it's all about America first. And anybody that doesn't agree with me, he's pandering to both Israel as well as to American Jews. For what reason, I have no idea. This, again, is not about whether you are pro-Palestinian, pro-Israel. This has nothing to do with the Israel-Hamas conflict, the war. This doesn't help to bring the hostages back. No. All this is about, again, is First Amendment. And I want to note something, that on Friday, Trump decided to pull funding from Columbia University because of their protests. Here's an excerpt breaking it down. In it, it turns around and it says, Trump administration cancels $400 million in federal dollars for Columbia University. It further goes on to say that the Trump administration says it has canceled $400 million in federal grants and contracts to Columbia University over what it described as the school's failure to police anti-Semitism on campus. The cancellation was announced Friday in a joint statement from the Department of Justice, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Education, and the U.S. General Services Administration. The decision was carried out, the statement said, and I quote, due to the school's continued inaction in the face of persistent harassment of Jewish students. Now, let me go on to say this. First and foremost, I'm not sure that they can do this, especially if, in fact, those funds have already been pledged, maybe future funds. Let me say something else here. I don't really particularly think Columbia gives a shit. I really don't. Last year, it was recorded that Columbia University has $14.8 billion in their endowment. And somewhere else I had read that they had achieved almost an 11.25% return on their money. They, like Harvard, like many of these other Ivy Leagues, they have enough money. They are earning enough in just interest to pay for every student's college tuition. They have enough to pay every tuition. Do they want the $400 million? Sure, why not? Are they closing down because the Trump administration is determined not to give it? No. And at the end of the day, is this really what we want? We want the president being able to go in and to stop students. By the way, many of the students that will not receive the grants are Republicans from states that Trump won overwhelmingly. So once again, he's hurting his people. Why am I the perfect person to be discussing just how ridiculous, how insane these types of actions are, and how, again, this is only about the Constitution and the First Amendment? Because as you all know, if you are a subscriber to this show, I have my own experience with the Trump administration and my First Amendment rights being revoked. And I want to remind each and every one of you, I want to show you part of the habeas corpus order from Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein, 30-year or so federal court judge in the Southern District of New York. As my attorney, Danya Perry, put in that habeas corpus petition to have me removed after I was unconstitutionally remanded. Let me show it to you. This is what the order granting the preliminary injunction was about. It was Michael Cohen versus William Barr and a slew of others. They are the respondents. Okay? In the second part, and I want to just show you the actual paragraph. The court finds that respondents, remember that's Bill Barr and the rest of them, purpose in transferring Cohen from release on furlough and home confinement back to custody, here we go, my friends, was retaliatory in response to Cohen desiring to exercise his First Amendment rights to publish a book critical of the president and to discuss the book on social media. I'm not bullshitting you. This is federal court judge Alvin K. Hellerstein. Accordingly, respondents are hereby enjoined from any continuing or future retaliation against Cohen for exercising his First Amendment rights. Imagine that. Take that down for a second. Let me go on and to say, what is Alvin K. Hellerstein doing there? Not only did he have me removed, yet again, from solitary confinement, making it 51 days in total, not only did he have me removed, he further enjoined a federal court judge federally enjoined the Attorney General and the additional respondents from further injuring me and violating my First Amendment constitutional rights. Could you imagine this? And what that was a litmus test. What this is a new litmus test to see just how far Donald Trump believes that he is able to pull apart the Constitution amendment by amendment, starting with the first. Could you imagine that his group of individuals, his acolytes, his sycophants, his enablers are going to be able to attack any school that they deem illegal protest? What makes them illegal? Because he doesn't like it? These, my friends, are the concerns that we have to keep in mind every single day. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.